And we come now to 0 hour 30 Universal Time. In the news at this hour, Israel increased the intensity of its attacks on Lebanon on Friday. Airstrikes killed at least 12 people in southern Lebanon. The Israeli military says 26 Hezbollah militants were killed in fighting near the southern Lebanese town of Bint Jbeil. Also on Friday, Hezbollah said it used a new rocket to hit the Israeli town of Afula. The rockets landed about 50 kilometers inside Israel. In other news, the United Nations is removing unarmed observers from southern Lebanon following the death of 4 UN workers on Tuesday. President Bush says he and British Prime Minister Tony Blair agree that an international force should be sent to Lebanon. The two men said the goal would be to help the Lebanese army re-establish order in southern Lebanon. They said the force would also help give humanitarian aid to victims of the fighting between Israel and Hezbollah guerrillas. President Bush and Mr. Blair spoke to reporters at the White House in Washington. They noted a need to deal with the long-term causes of violence in the Middle East. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice will return to the area on Saturday. Mr. Blair said she will seek an agreement from Israel and Lebanon on a series of proposals. The top aid official of the United Nations has asked Israel and Hezbollah to stop fighting for 3 days for humanitarian reasons. Jan Egeland asked for the truce to help disabled people leave the area and to get emergency supplies to the Lebanese people. He made the appeal on Friday in New York. Thousands of Lebanese remain trapped in small villages in combat areas. Others are traveling to the coastal city of Tyre. The UN World Food Program says 1 in 5 Lebanese is now without a home. The International Committee of the Red Cross has appealed for $80 million to help displaced civilians. Iraqi police say 4 people were killed when a bomb exploded near a Sunni Islamic center in Baghdad. At least 6 others were injured. The attack took place during Friday prayers. In other news, a Shiite political leader said Iraqis should take full control of their security without foreign interference. Abdelaziz Hakim is the head of the Supreme Council for the Islamic Revolution in Iraq. It is one of the largest Shiite groups in the ruling coalition. Mr. Hakim spoke in the southern Iraqi city of Najaf. You are listening to the news in VOA Special English. The United Nations Security Council has agreed to consider a resolution demanding that Iran stop processing uranium by the end of August. If it does not, Iran could be punished with restrictions. The resolution calls for Iran to obey orders by the UN Nuclear Agency to suspend all uranium enrichment activities, including research and development. The Security Council is to vote on the proposal next week. The Russian ambassador to the UN, Vitaly Churkin, says the resolution does not threaten restrictions. He said it provides a way to discuss what to do if Iran does not stop its nuclear activities. But the United States ambassador to the UN, John Bolton, says the resolution includes the threat of restrictions if Iran does not obey it. Alan Garcia has been sworn in as the new president of Peru. He told the nation that his top duty is to improve the lives of the poorest citizens. Mr. Garcia also said his wages will be reduced. This is the second time that Mr. Garcia has been elected president of Peru. His first term was from 1985 to 1990. By the end of that term, the Peruvian economy was in crisis. Mr. Garcia says he has learned from his mistakes. He replaces former President Alejandro Toledo. The election campaigns for President of the Democratic Republic of Congo end at midnight on Friday. Citizens will vote on Sunday. Reports say Kinshasa was calm on Friday. Supporters of President Joseph Kabila held a peaceful campaign meeting in the capital. On Thursday, at least 4 people were killed in violence linked to the elections. Reports say supporters of presidential candidate Jean-Pierre Bemba rioted after a fire destroyed a military base for Mr. Bemba's guards. Congolese police reportedly took action to end the riot. And Russian President Vladimir Putin has approved a new law against extremism. The law says that criticizing a government official can be treated as extremism if a court rules that the criticism is illegal and it dishonors the official. The new law also makes illegal public statements supporting terrorism. In addition, the law says creating and releasing recorded, printed, or any other type of material in support of terrorism is illegal. Political, media, and civil rights groups have criticized the new law. They say it will restrict freedom of speech, political opposition groups, and civil rights. The Russian government says the law is needed to fight racism and hatred of foreigners. And so briefly now, here again the major news of this hour. Israel increased the intensity of its attacks on Lebanon on Friday. President Bush says he and British Prime Minister Tony Blair agree that an international force should be sent to Lebanon. And the United Nations Security Council has agreed to consider a resolution demanding that Iran stop processing uranium by the end of August. So ends the news in VOA Special English.